Welcome back, Geordies. It's Adam from Two for Joy with my instant match reaction to Newcastle's 2-0 defeat to Aston Villa and what I feel is a really frustrating performance today. I'll just go through the stats and this explain why I feel it is. Newcastle with 62% possession, a better passing accuracy at 89% to 79%, 18 shots to 14, 4 shots on target to Aston Villa's 8 shots on target, 6 corners to Newcastle, 5 corners to Villa. And most of all, the lack of being clinical up front. And the way Villa set up, and this is where I have to give credit to Aston Villa because I thought they were the better team, even though less possession, and they kind of ground out this result. And it was really a case of an informed team against a team that's not in form at all. But I have to give credit. The way they set up in the 4-2-3-1 allows them just to dominate our midfield. And we pressed so high with our backline that Martinez, every time, one ball over the top, and we're 3-on-3 or 3-on-2, and we're leaving ourselves exposed. And it was a real test for our defence today, a fatigued defence at that. And I don't actually feel that Sven Botman, Malik Chow or Lewis Hall did too badly. Kieran Trippier got caught out a couple of times and he looked fatigued, some bad passes, some bad crosses. But most of all, the one I feel sorry for was Nick Pope, because I thought Nick Pope did really well today for how exposed he was for both of the goals. The biggest thing I can say is, if you watch Aston Villa, the reason I believe they are where they are isn't their outscoring their XG, isn't their ability going forward, it's their ability to defend, and it's the lack of goals that they concede. And most of all, this comes from the work rate, the work they put in to double up on every winger to ensure that that cross doesn't come in the box. They're not relying on their centre-backs every time the ball goes out wide. And a lot of the time I see Anthony Gordon come back down the left and he's a ghost. He's there in presence, but he's not actually going to put a foot in to stop a cross. And the difference is Villa do. Villa do stop the ball coming in. They will do everything they can to stop the ball coming in. And even if it's just a body in the way, to make sure when that ball comes in that the striker can't get in a reasonable position to get a run on it or get a finish on it. But today we did have the chances. Newcastle did create the chances to be able to put 2 goals away, and we just didn't take them. And some great keeping from Martinez, as much as I fucking hate him. Some great keeping from Martinez to keep Sandro Tonali out in the first 5 minutes, and obviously that would change the game. But there again, Nick Pope, a great save with his feet to stop Ollie Watkins. And at that point, I have to say, I felt like this game was so close, it could have gone either way. And I always thought there'd only be 1 goal in it. But it's disappointing that Newcastle can't find a way to move away from this 4-3-3 that everybody knows how we play. And the transitions and the movement up front has become far too simple and far too telegraphed. It's too easy to read. And realistically, if I'm going to give credit to a couple of players, Lewis Miley I thought was phenomenal today. For 19 years old, this kid, his decision making is what sets him apart. He has the composure to stop on the ball and pick a pass. And it frustrates me that Sandro Tonali, with years more of experience and international experience, doesn't have the ability to do this. He makes rash decisions. He's made poor passes. They're telegraphed. We gave the ball away far too many times today, and that was our downfall. It wasn't the fact that Villa were physically better than we were. It was our decision making that let us down. And we used to see a lot of the time. Newcastle break quickly and push the ball out to the wings, out to Harvey Barnes, out to Anthony Gordon, Jacob Murphy. At the moment, we're too telegraphed with coming out wide, going down the line. There is no diagonal pass that plays us in. Now, Fabian Schär used to do this all the time, and it would put teams on the back foot. You want defenders running towards their goal. You don't want them to stand up and face what's in front of them. And we just stand up and face we allow teams to face what's in front of them all the time. And that's why we can't manage to create chances. It's why we don't get the opportunities that every other team does. But looking at the second goal, I mean, Buendia doesn't get closed down for the first one. And it's that key thing, stop the cross, stop the shot. But looking at the second goal, Ollie Watkins, he's 30 yards out. He's got no one around him, no options. He's 2 defenders on 1 striker. And he just decides to have a go from 30 yards out and forces Nick Pope to make the save. And from that corner, Newcastle are at 6s and 7s. We leave the back post open and Ollie Watkins gets his goal. But when we go forward and we have the opportunity just to have a go, just test the keeper, make him work, we don't do it. We don't seem to have the ability to shoot from outside of the box. And when we do, it's always in the final 10 minutes when the game is lost. And we're chasing those points. And all too familiar sight are Harvey Barnes smashing one off the back of Nick Voltmar in the end of the game. It's just not good enough. And I really feel this comes from the striker being isolated with no one behind him. You have to have a 10. If you're playing in this system, you have to have one player that sits forward, that offers. I mean, we see Harvey Barnes come in behind Wissa and it opened up chances. And I'm like, you have to have somebody sat in that number 10 position to run off the striker or give the striker more time, more room to be able to get in behind that defensive line. And that's exactly what Morgan Rogers does. And he done it to us all game. And I didn't even feel Morgan Rogers was that good today. But we made him look good by allowing him the space to sit in that 10 role. And we couldn't cope with it. We couldn't cope with that midfield. They just overran us in the middle of the park. So let me know in the comments what you guys think, guys. I don't know whether the next few games we're going to pick up or whether we're just going to go on a losing streak, because we've got some tough ties coming up. Hopefully Newcastle can get themselves up for the game at PSG midweek, because we could really do without the extra games. And do you think Newcastle need to enter the transfer window? I know they're saying that there's not a lot of money available. And what really baffles me is that we haven't looked to the loan market. There are plenty of players that we could take on a half-season loan till the end of the season and try and change this up, freshen it, give some stability to this midfield or our defence. It's a really frustrating time, really frustrating after seeing Wolves last weekend and then such a good performance midweek, followed by a fatigued, lacklustre performance that felt like it was all on our defence, on transition and on breaks. And this game was more about physicality than it was about tactics. And I feel like Villa got the tactics right and we didn't. But let me know in the comments, guys. If you've liked the video, give me a thumbs up. And hopefully I will see you in the next one.